I hear the Bitcoin Maxis and others saying, fractional reserve banking, it's a fraud. It's a fraud from day one. The day one, that company is bankrupt. Like, okay, time out, stop. Name a country that either does not have or has a poorly functioning fractional reserve system, banking system, that you would move to today. I'll wait. Bitcoin, by the way, is a crypto. And let's just be very clear. It is a cryptographically secure technology run on a blockchain. It is a crypto, even though you don't want to call it that. Because I make a big, bold statement, right? I'm taking full credit for the 30% pump in Bitcoin and crypto over the last week. Like, well, why would you say that? Well, a week ago, everyone was freaking out, right? SVB, Friday, everyone was freaking out. And I put on the Bitcoin orange pants. I put on my Genesis block socks. And I said, look what it says, right? Chancellor on the brink of second bailout for banks. Bailouts are good for Bitcoin and for crypto. And sure enough, this crisis, and people are calling it a crisis. And then we had the global financial crisis. Well, what was the global financial crisis? Well, the green was not so green. They made loans to, imaginary people and people's third homes and interest-only loans and all kinds of crazy stuff that was never going to get paid back. And so again, the gold disappeared and it had to be a bailout, which is why Bitcoin was born, right? I mean, the Genesis block is a picture of the Financial Times, chancellor on the brink of the second bailout for banks. And it's important that that day was the birth of Bitcoin, because it's not like it was created that day. It had been worked on during the global financial crisis. It's actually been worked on for 20 years before that, cryptography and trying to solve the double spend problem. But it was critically important that it was on that day, because it was basically saying that when a banking crisis happens, when there's a loss of confidence in a banking system, because the only money in the world, Ash, and you and I have talked about this, is gold, right? Money is an asset that exists in the absence of a liability. That's gold for 5,000 years. Now, I'll argue it's Bitcoin for the next 5,000, but let's just say it's gold. And everything else is credit. JP Morgan famously said, gold is money. Everything else is just credit or debt. That fiat fiasco, as I like to call it, my hashtag fiat fiasco, that goes on over and over and over again is when governments that overspend, banks foment that and facilitate that. And then you have to pay the piper and they can't, so they just print more money. And we saw it in 2020, right? We printed half of all the money that's existed in the history of our republic, 247 years, half of it in an 18-month period. So what should have happened? Well, gold should have doubled, but it didn't. Why not? Well, because JP Morgan's been spoofing the price, and that's a whole nother story for another day. But the other asset did double. It almost perfectly doubled from 10 to 20,000. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin, but we don't price Bitcoin in Bitcoin. We price Bitcoin in dollars. Other people price it in euros or yen or Argentinian pesos or Venezuelan bolivars. There's never been a bear market in Venezuelan Bitcoin prices. Not ever. Or Turkey for that matter, because the lira just goes to toilet paper. They're only bankrupt if everyone tries to take their money out at the same time, which you just caused by telling your portfolio companies to take their money out. That's idiotic, because those government bonds don't have credit risk. They are money good if you hold them to maturity. And most people don't need all their money today. What those companies needed was enough to pay their payroll, enough to pay their bills. They didn't need to take it all out. But by doing that, you forced the bank to sell those bonds at a loss. Well, now you are eroding the value of the gold. You are eroding the value of the equity. Now you're creating panic. And so just like JP Morgan fomenting panic at Knickerbocker, you had these venture capitalists fomenting panic in their own bank, right? The bank that is the backbone of wealth creation and innovation in this country. Why did people feel the need to incite a bank run, right? Bank runs bring up this whole age-old thing about, I hear the Bitcoin Maxis and others saying, fractional reserve banking, it's a fraud. It's a fraud from day one. The day one, that company is bankrupt. Like, okay, time out, stop. I asked this question, I challenge anyone listening, okay? Name a country that either does not have or has a poorly functioning fractional reserve system, banking system, that you would move to today. I'll wait. Can't do it. What separates the great countries in this world from the lousy ones, and by lousy, I mean tough places to live, dictatorships, et cetera, is well-functioning fractional reserve banking. And one of the things, Ash, I was on a Bitcoin Maxi space, and they're all going off about how fractional reserve banking, it should be against the law and it should be outlawed. And I'm like, okay, all you are talking big. How many people have a bank account? Like, what? Well, no, our money's in Bitcoin. I'm like, okay, how much of your net worth is in Bitcoin? 5, 8, 10, 20, 30? Where's the rest of the money? That doesn't count. Where's the rest of the money? It's in a bank, isn't it? Crypto, I believe, is the greatest technological innovation. And crypto broadly, cryptography and the securing of assets using blockchain technology, not crypto, when everyone gets freaked out about, Bitcoin only or just cryptographic security. Bitcoin, by the way, is a crypto. Okay, let's just be very clear. It is a cryptographically secure technology run on a blockchain. It is a crypto, even though you don't want to call it that. But this technology, I believe, is one of the, if not the great technology of our age. Okay. And I believe 100% it is an evolution of computing power that is as inevitable as computing was, the internet was, the mobile net was, the truth net, as I call it, is inevitable. There's no putting the genie back in the bottle. Decentralized is superior to centralized. Before Bitcoin, before 2009, before the chancellor bailed out the banks, we didn't have a way to have digital money that was secure. We had the double spend problem, right? Just like a music file. If I had a music file and I went from analog record album to an MP3, I could make a copy and send you the copy. You didn't care if it was a copy or the original. It still played. The music industry cared a lot. So now we all use originals and we stream and we get charged and the artists get paid and it's superior. Same thing happened with money when Bitcoin was invented. So, but we were in a financial repression. So what happened is the banks were paying depositors zero. They were buying government bonds at 2 or 3, making lots of money. JP Morgan had 0 negative trading days the last 3 years. 0. Bitcoin and crypto lending firms, I could convert my fiat to crypto, deposit it someplace. They would pay me 6% for a stable coin or 8% for Bitcoin. And then they would lend that out to people who wanted to use it for trading or other purposes. And everybody pisses on the lenders and, BlockFi and Celsius. And Celsius and Voyager, bad systems because of the token. FTX, bad system because of the token. BlockFi, actually a good system, defrauded victims of FTX, topic for another day. But that system was draining assets from the banks. If $1 billion leaves the banks, who cares? That's the first they ignore you. Then they laugh at you. 2016 to 21. Billion, 2 billion, 5 billion, 8 billion. Ha, a bunch of nerds and geeks playing with your magic internet money. Ha ha. Have fun. Then they fight you. 2022 to 2027, unfortunately. Probably. Whoa. 100 billion? You took 100 billion out of the financial system? Well, no, wait a minute. Our leverage can't handle that. If you take the deposits away, okay, If you take those deposits away, our gold dissipates. The equity value of our business goes away. So we can't allow that. So what do? They fight. Well, how'd they fight? Oh, we're going to change the regulations. We actually can't turn off the technology, right? How many people have tried to hack Bitcoin? Lots. How many people have tried to stop Bitcoin? Lots. Can't do it. It's decentralized. You could shut down, you could shut down all the nodes in America, right? You could make them all illegal. Won't kill Bitcoin, right? It's just not going to happen. So what do? On-ramps and off-ramps. We're going to attack the on-ramps and off-ramps. So what do? They go after Silvergate. They go after Signature. Signature Bank, real bank doing real stuff. The percentage of crypto in that bank, tiny. The reason Signature Bank got taken over on Sunday, here's the weird thing. On Friday, we're talking about SVB. On Friday, we're all worried about SVB. And it was clear, in my mind, that JP Morgan was going to buy them the same way that they bought Washington Mutual and Bear Stearns and everybody else. Well, the Feds blocked that for some reason. Still not 100% sure why. That set of crises always happens, or resolutions always happens on Sunday night. So same thing happened here. But it wasn't Silicon Valley Bank on Sunday this time. It was also Signature. Signature was just shut down. Why? Now, Barney Frank comes out and says, well, because we do crypto. Okay, that makes some sense. So this Operation Chokehold is, let's get rid of all the fiat on-ramps and off-ramps. So then, okay, now there's bids to buy Signature because it's really pretty interesting bank. But here's the thing. The rumor was you couldn't buy it unless you promised to shut down all crypto banking. Basically now treat crypto like they treat cannabis. You're not allowed to be part of the traditional banking system, except in certain states where now it's legal. But ultimately, they're denying it. And that's back to the, Shakespeare was right. The lady doth protest too much, methinks. So anytime someone denies something vociferously, usually it's true. But even if it's not true, even if that isn't the requirement, the reality is the fact pattern suggests that this was a coordinated plan to shut down the fiat on-ramps and off-ramps.